All right, so let me do a screen share. Okay. All right, guys, today is October 12th. Is it October 12th? I think so. Please say yes. I don't even know the date. And we are so excited to have you guys on the call because Brad is on the call and he's early. So Brad, I know we're going to have a little bit more with our coaches coming on, but thank you so much. And if you can unmute for 1 second, because I was telling Val Bozzo, I was like, I am going to screw up his last name. So can you just pronounce your last name?
Yeah, it's Bizjack.
It's Bizjack. Okay, so I was going to take a guess, and I was actually going to just sound it out, and I would have been right. So Brad is on the call, and I'm really excited to talk to Brad, and I'm going to give you his stats in a little bit and tell you a little bit more about him and why this was just a great opportunity for him to be on our call and sort of talk to us a little bit about the importance of recruiting and confidence. So he is going to be giving us some of that. But before we get into that, I am going to give you guys some information about what I took away from leadership this past weekend and just some things that I want you to sort of have in mind. So the first thing is we have the new cafe latte. Hold on, let me mute someone. Okay, we have the new cafe latte that is going to be released in early 2016. So I got a chance to try it. They mixed it, I believe, with just water. And it tastes like a blended coffee from Starbucks. It tastes just like that. So it tastes like there is a little bit more of a milky flavor to it. There's no aftertaste. And it has this distinct, like very subtle coffee flavor. So if you are somebody who adds the coffee to either your vanilla or your chocolate, you're going to love this. So it's very good. It's lighter. I'll be honest, I don't know that I would drink it every day because I do prefer like my regular chocolate, but this is a great item. So if you think of, the people that you know who are coffee addicts, the people you know who are drinking their Starbucks all the time, those are the kind of people that you want to make a list of and say, okay, I can talk to them about the new cafe latte that's coming out. I want to make sure that they're on my list, that I contact them. Start putting some ideas together for your contact list. Your customer leads are going to be getting emails about the new cafe latte, but you might want to think about doing a 30-day Shakeology shake-off with new customers and offer it to the people in your customer bank or your coaches and talk about the new flavor. But within that new flavor, you're also talking about recipes and what Shakeology is also doing for you, and compare it to Starbucks. So start thinking about, how can I post and compare this new flavor? How can I talk about it in comparison with Shakeology? Second thing I want you to know is that Hammer and Chisel is being released on December 1st. It is going to be a 1-week release for exclusive Team Beachbody. So what that means is before they make it available to the general public who aren't affiliated or associated with coaches, they sell it specifically to only Team Beachbody customers, so people who are affiliated with coaches. So how are we going to talk about this? How are we going to work this up? Well, first, let me tell you that I did do a preview of the workout, and I'm actually sitting here with heat on my knee because I've done something to my knee, and I don't know if it was Joel and Jericho or Autumn and Sagi. So I'm not really sure what it was, but and I'm sorry for misspelling December too. I just noticed that. So it is definitely a workout that you're going to have either weights or bands. You have to have a bench or a stability ball. And if you have a bench, it has to be a very stable bench. And you do a lot with, legs on there as well. So you're going to be squatting with it. You're going to be doing lunges with it. You're going to be doing steps with it. So there is a lot of movement with Hammer and Chisel. The results by the test group have come in by some of the elite coaches who did it, and they're phenomenal. I mean, this is going to be a more intense workout. It is modifiable in terms of what weights you use. if you are married or in a relationship, this is a great opportunity for you to talk about doing this with your spouse. So if you put together a list with your spouse and start talking about hammer and chisel, and you start talking about people that might want to do a couples challenge with you, you are going to be able to purchase, your customers will be able to purchase challenge packs as either the performance line or Shakeology. So that, like Body Beast, will be available as a challenge pack through December. Hammer and Chisel 2, it is something that I am kind of going to be talking about more so in November. I'm not getting really too into it now, but I'll be focused a little bit more on that. We're going to run a KB test group too, so we're going to be able to have that for our coaches as well, to get maximum results. My friend is already putting a meal plan together for me. It does follow the 21-day fix meal plan too. So 2 kits available. You're going to have your base kit and the deluxe kit. The deluxe kit is going to come with an 8-pound medicine ball and the containers. The base kit is going to come with the containers and all of your DVDs, but it will not have that medicine ball. I'm going to double check to see if there's anything I missed on that. But that will be released on a Tuesday. It's December 1st. So I am very pumped about that release. Okay, next workout that was shown, and I don't know if the preview will come up, but if you go into your Coach Online office, the new workout by Tony Horton that's going to be released in the spring is called 22 Hard Corps, which is a military-based workout. And this workout is 22 minutes long. And it is based on the workouts that he has done with military personnel all over the world. So he works very closely with troops. I don't know if you remember, but when P90 had come out, his father had just passed away. And they actually donated a portion of all challenge pack sales to the Wounded Warrior Project, something that Tony and his father were very connected to. So he came up with this 22 Hard Corps, which is going to be a great opportunity for you to talk to anyone who might be military affiliated. If you don't know if somebody is military affiliated, look at your customer leads. For some reason, there are always customer leads who are military, and they are awesome. They are great people that might be interested. Is this exclusive to military? No, but it's a great program for people who really want to get a hard, intense cardio, military-style workout. He talked about this being a great program for people who are going into base trainings as well. So think about your market for this. Think about people who might be interested in this. Do you know people who are in the military? Are you yourself in the military that you can start talking about this opportunity to other military families? All right, so I wanted to remind you guys too that if you look in the Coach Line online office, on the right-hand side, when you're looking at videos, if you click the English link, the new videos that have come out describe what a challenge group and a challenge pack are perfectly. So if you click on the 21-day fix challenge pack, they describe exactly what a challenge pack is, why it's beneficial, who it would be good for. The videos are on track perfectly. They are phenomenal. So my suggestion to you is if somebody, you're in a conversation with someone and they're like, so what's a challenge group? And you're like, oh, let me tell you all about it. And you want to just word vomit all over them. Instead of doing that, say, you know what, do you have 2 minutes? I'd love to send you this awesome video. I'll check back in with you a little bit later on to hear what your favorite part is and send them that video. So that's, again, in the Coach Online office. It's under, you click English on the right-hand side, and then it is one of the featured videos. It's 21-day fix challenge packs, I think is what it's called. But really, they did a great job with it. Okay, so leadership, right? It was so wonderful. There was so much great information, and I have my notebook just filled with stuff that I want to share, and I cannot wait to share with you. However, tonight, I wanted to just talk to you about one thing that I got from it. So one of the speakers was talking about If you ever tried to describe to someone how to make peanut butter and jelly, what would you usually say, right? You would say, you get out the peanut butter, you get out the jelly, you smush them together on a sandwich, and you're good to go. And she said, but have you ever tried to describe how to make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich to someone who has never in their life made peanut butter and jelly? And I thought about this, and then she was like, you have to step by step sometimes spell it out. And so she said, you have to say, well, hold the peanut butter in your left hand, and with your right hand, slowly unscrew the top of the peanut butter. Place the lid on the counter. Take the knife with your right hand, dip the knife. And so do you see what I mean? I'm kind of going over the step by the step by the step of what you need to do. Our businesses are so much like that. Sometimes we just think, I'm just going to go to, the finish line. I'm just going to go back to it, and I know how to do it, and it's fine. And then we forget along the way that a lot of people aren't familiar with what we're doing and how we do it. So, I thought about this, and I realized you have to take a step-by-step approach in how you're teaching your challengers, your challengers who have never heard of clean eating. You need to take a step-by-step approach to the new coaches in the organization who are like, what's this coach basics? What are you talking about? You just need to sometimes take those step-by-step approaches. And what happens is when you're doing this, when you're teaching it step by step, you yourself are almost relearning the basics. So that's why it's so important. You're not just putting someone in a challenge group, and you're not just putting someone in a coach basics, but you yourself become a learner as well. And you continue to do those steps throughout. There's no secret to the business. Success comes with time and consistency compounded over time, just doing those basics. I'm 3 years in, I'm still inviting. I'm sorry to say, I think people think that this is just going to be one of those things where people just knock on your door and they say, okay, sign me up with a challenge pack. I do. I still advertise. I still post. I still talk about what Shakeology does for me. I still go out and I start forming relationships with people. I meet new people, whether on Facebook or at the grocery store. It doesn't matter. However, we know that we can't just fast forward to the finish line without doing that step by step every day, consistently compounded over time. And it's just a matter of doing those things and knowing, if I just do it, and having faith, if I just do this, I will be successful. The truth is, success doesn't come with a coupon. You can't just expect that success is going to knock on your door and you're going to get it at a discount because, well, you feel like you earned it. It doesn't work that way. And everybody's success is different. And everyone's goals are different. And everything that we do is, as coaches, has to be something that we pay the full price for. And by that, I mean, there are things. Are you willing to sacrifice? Are you willing to, be on this call instead of watching The Walking Dead? You can DVR that. I totally did that last night and watched it. But I mean, what are you willing to sacrifice? Do you dream big enough? Are your goals big enough? And are you willing to rise up and say, I am not going to get this on discount? Because the other truth of the matter is that it's so much more rewarding when you pay full price. You can say, I earned that. And how many of us have gone on and we put our transformation pictures into Beachbody, and we got that t-shirt, and maybe we won $500, and maybe we didn't win that $500. But when we got that t-shirt or those size socks or whatever you got, didn't it feel so good to put it on and say, you know what? I did earn that. It's the same with your business, whether it's a rank or whether it's team leader, team builder, business starter, or geez, you put up your transformation for the first time and you say, I earned that. You want to say every day, I am building a business that I am proud of. And I'm going to do it on my terms. And I'm going to do it at my pace but by gosh, I am going to be consistent and I am willing to do what other people will not so that one day I can do what other people cannot. I can't even tell you how many times I looked around at Mike or at the people I was with and said, this is wonderful, but I want my coaches to be here, because that is, to me, so rewarding when you can look around at an event like that and say, I know I earned this. I know I earned this, but I want my coaches to earn it too. So that is just one of my takeaways for you guys from this event. But I do want to say too, it went too fast. Wow. I have to congratulate for 1 second this leadership ladder. And you guys are going to see me talking a lot more about this. So what you see here is what Beachbody is kind of pairing with monetary success and not just saying a rank. So where you see team leader and team builder and business starter, at the root at any level is Success Club. Because Success Club means that we are at least connecting with 3 people a month, right? It doesn't matter where you are in the business. At the very heart of what we do, we help people. And we help people through the products. We help people by explaining the benefits of Shakeology, pairing them with a workout that will work for them. And we are also starting to lead our teams to do the same. So I have to give a special shout out to those team leaders. This month, there are 5 on the team. We have Kirsten, Michaeline, Cynthia. We have Taylor and Danielle Engel, who all rocked as team leaders this month. Team builders are pictured below, and we also have business starters. All of these coaches have earned at least $100 in commission. They've achieved Success Club 5. Your team builders and team leaders are having coaches who are duplicating that same success as they are seeing as well. So that is something to really strive for. Go into the Coach FAQs, and I don't remember off the top of my head what the number is, but you just type in coachfaq.com, and then you go leadership ladder, and you say, okay, this is what I need to do. You put it up on your goal board and say, this month I really want to go for business starters. So what do I need to do? That's $100 in commission. That's 4 people. That's SD8. I'm going to do it. You want to go for team builder? You're like, okay, I am going to achieve Success Club. I am also going to help at least, I believe, 2 of my personally sponsored coaches do the exact same thing. And once you start setting those goals, you are just naturally going to see your business thrive. You're going to see it grow. You're going to see it build. And there's nothing cooler than seeing that. So, all right. So we have here too, Success Club for the month. Trying to get rid of that for a second. Check out the people who have already hit it. Megan Pinkerton, girl, you are seriously rocking it. I'm so proud of you. We've got Allison Stinson on there, Jess Calamarino, Cynthia Lose, Heather Ruddick, Jody O'Brien, Danielle Engel, and Melinda Kulik, I think is how you say it. And we have tons of people already on the board, and it's only the 12th of the month. So if you're saying to yourself, oh, it's the 12th of the month, I'm not on the board yet, you're going to get there. Or if you're like, I'm at 2 right now. It's okay. You're doing an awesome job. Just make it your non-negotiable. Say, I am going to hit Success Club because I know that I can do it. So, all right, guys, let's introduce Brad. It keeps going too fast for me, Brad. I apologize. So let me tell you a little bit about Brad. The first time I met Brad was at a leadership retreat, I believe, last year, I think. And Brad, you might actually recognize him. He has spoken before, but I think you might recognize him from infomercials. So Brad is often seen at various events on stage with Autumn Calabrese. He's going to talk a little bit more about that. He is currently a 3-star diamond coach. But look what else. He is a Success Club legend. And a legend is somebody who has achieved Success Club for 2 years, 24 months consistently as well. He's kind of that infomercial guy, but I also give him major props. And he, I'm sure, is going to talk a little bit about this tonight. He left his corporate job, guys, 9 months into the business. That is crazy awesome. So Brad, if you are ready, if you want to pop on, you can click on mute and we are good to go.
I am really excited. Hang on, I am going to get a screenshot, everyone. Everyone smile real quick, because I'm going to do a Facebook post after this. Perfect. Awesome, guys. Well, I'm really excited, and thank you so much, Katie, for having me on the call. It really is a privilege. And before I really get rocking and rolling with this, I really hope you guys just understand the type of leader you have in Katie. Seriously, she pours her heart and soul into helping you guys succeed. And it's so apparent through, Katie said, don't worry about hopping on for the first 15 minutes. And I kind of wanted to hop on just to see what she did and how the beginning of your calls worked. But it's so apparent right there. She just gives and gives and gives to you, truly wanting you guys to succeed. So you have an amazing leader in Katie, and it's really a privilege to be here, and it's a privilege to help you guys in some way and talk to you guys tonight about hopefully you can find some inspiration and knowledge to help move your business forward. So Katie, if it's cool, do you want me to just kind of dive right in?
I absolutely do. I think that would be great.
Cool. So newer coaches, I am high energy. I'm going to be very direct. And the reason for that is because I want to tell you guys a lot of the failures that I've had over the last 2.5 years as a coach. So don't worry about writing down crazy amounts of notes. You'll have the recording, and I'll kind of hint at some stuff when it's a big point. But I do really appreciate the introduction, and it was really nice you guys, or you, Katie, to go through all those things and kind of share some accolades. And I think before we really get into the meat of this call about constant recruitment, I really want to touch on how what Katie just said really doesn't reflect any of the failure that I've gone through to get there. And I think that's a huge point, because as a brand new coach, we see all these top leaders with these awesome accomplishments, right? And they're being recognized for different things. And I'm like, wow, that's insane. How do they do that when I first started out? And over the course of time, as I grew my business, I started to realize exactly what they were going through that holds a lot of people back. And so the only reason why I am where I am today, or Katie is where she is today, or Val or Melanie or any of these guys in your upline or downline, the only reason why they're successful is because they probably just failed the most at what they do. Your leader is probably the biggest failure in your group. And that's the reason why these successful people are where they are. And if you're not willing to fail in this business, then you're not willing to build a Beachbody business. And it's so tough to hear that. And if you're afraid of failure, I want to encourage you to dive into personal development as much as you possibly can. There's a reason top coaches recommend that. It's not just a suggestion, you should do this. It's a requirement, and you need to go all in with that if you struggle with that. So what I want to do and kind of bring things back to seem more relatable is go through some struggles and failures that I've had throughout the last 26 months as a coach, to show you how failures are really the only way that you can achieve success with this. And so I just want to share something, pull up a list real quick of some that I've personally had. And it's kind of vulnerable to say these things, but I want to just get it out there to show you that you have to fail in order to succeed at this. So my first 3 months as a coach, I had to call in favors to hit Success Club. Don't tell my coach that. There were weeks where I would sign up a bunch of coaches, and the following week they would all return their orders and they quit. When I started, there were Facebook groups started to make fun of me, and over 400 people defriended me on Facebook because I was that guy that just spams social media like crazy with buy this from me and challenge pack for this price and all of that. I used to let Beachbody come in the way of my relationship with Janice for a long time, and I didn't put her first. And she resented this for a long time because I didn't appreciate the relationships I had. I really struggled with time management. My first 6 months, I don't know if any of you guys have ever felt this way, but my first 6 months trying to run a challenge group was a total nightmare. It was that type of thing where I was the only person participating, and I was just trying to drag these guys along. There was a time where I advertised a fit club to over 500 people 6 weeks in a row on an email list for the apartment complex that we had. And the most that ever showed up were 3. And most of the time it was 1. And that was my girlfriend because I made her go. There was a 3-week period where I sent out over 100 Facebook messages and received 10 responses total telling me that they didn't want to have anything to do with what I was selling. It took me over a year and a half to figure out how to start off coaches the right way. And frankly, I'm still figuring it out, but I'm trying and failing at it. Last month, we had a few coaches quit on our team. And I want to reflect on what Katie said about how I left my job 9 months into the business. The reason I bring that up as like kind of a statistic to introduce me with is because I relied solely on retail during that time. I didn't build a team. I was selling a bunch of challenge packs, and I wasn't building a duplicatable team, and probably left my job a little bit too early. When I got back from Summit a couple of years ago, not this past year, but the year before, some of the diamond coaches on our team told me that they did not like our team environment. They didn't feel a sense of culture, and both of those diamonds quit when I was a 2-star a couple of years ago, or not this past year, but the year before, so just over a year ago. And my biggest failure of all time, which is what I want to talk to you guys about tonight, is the way that I used to work with my coaches for the first 2 years that I was a coach. And that's really the topic of, do you think it's your job to make your coaches successful? And it's that topic for a reason. It's the idea of constant recruitment. And it's because it's my biggest failure. And we'll talk about that in a minute. But all that stuff sounded pretty harsh, right? It sounded kind of like really tough, but I'm really excited about it because you cannot succeed in this business without failing. Failure is merely an opportunity to start again more intelligently. I really want you to embrace that quote. Because if you're not willing to fail, it's impossible to build this business. And that's a fact. It's the best thing that can happen to you. It literally just means you're going to figure out the way that works faster than if you didn't fail. So Katie fails all the time. Is that right, Katie? Like, you fail all the time at things that you do. Your leaders fail all the time. Trust them and listen to them and see them as hiccups instead of failures. They're just kind of balancing blocks to figure out how to build this thing. So before I go into the main topic, I really want to touch on the idea of purpose real quick and finding your real why with this. It's not kind of the BS one that we tell our coaches that they think, we think they want to hear. And I would go into this in a lot of detail if I had more time. But when you can find that real, deep, passionate, vulnerable, emotional reason why you're on this call right now, instead of watching The Walking Dead — I actually just watched an episode right before this call. It's really funny you said that, Katie. Then you'll want to implement these things that I'm going to teach you as a skill set. You won't lose motivation. Those failures then turn into good things. And so write this quote down. This is one of the important ones. When your purpose is deep enough, taking action becomes second nature. I think that's so important. And there's a metaphor that I want you to hear about from, I wish I had the book. I do have the book here. The book Flip the Switch by P.J. McClure. This book helped me identify my purpose in a lot of detail. And there's a great metaphor in there about you're sailing on a boat, right? And you have this compass. And your compass, the metaphor is your compass is your purpose. It's your source of guidance, right? Your inner purpose. And when a storm comes, like the fall season in the fitness world is very tough, right? And a storm comes and there's waves in every single direction that are 50 feet high, and there's clouds blocking the stars and you can't see where you're going. You still have that compass to guide you. And you can take that wheel and you can go further along in your journey. But those people that have yet to define their purpose and don't have that compass, what are they doing? They're crashing against the rocks, right? Or they're scrambling in a panic trying to figure out where the heck they are. So I really think about that as we go through this. I wish I could go into detail about how I found my purpose, but due to time, I can't. And I wish I could share it here tonight. But my question is, do you know yours? Do you know your real purpose? And if you're having trouble, work with Katie. Work with her, work with your upline. But don't do what I did for 2 years and avoid this. And why do most people not try to find their purpose? And the reason is because it takes time. It takes going places in your life that are pretty uncomfortable. And a lot of people want to block that out of their life. Most people don't do it. It's non-conforming. But if you want to be and feel successful, don't do what most people do. Think about it. Are most Beachbody coaches successful? No. Most Beachbody coaches aren't successful. But the ones that are have taken the time to really find their true purpose. And it's scary. And I remember having those exact same feelings of being terrified. I didn't know how sharing these vulnerable failures would go on this call and admitting that I screwed up in this business for a couple of years. But fear is the thing that holds us back from pursuing our dreams, right? Fear that is the thing that makes us think twice before we even consider trying, and we reject ourselves before we have the opportunity to be rejected. So write this one down. Everything you ever want in life will always be on the other side of fear. It's the one thing that's holding you back. That's what my success partner, Colleen Curtis, talks about all the time. She leads all of her calls with that. It's because that's the biggest point here is I challenge you to attack this business in a different way than normal. Successful people are always going to be optimistic, right? So instead of asking yourself, what if I fail? Because trust me, you're going to fail at this more than you failed at a lot of things in your entire life. And that's okay. Instead, ask yourself, what if I succeed? What if my purpose is fulfilled? What if I can retire my husband? What if I can travel without having to worry? What if I can literally change the lives of thousands of people? What if I can give my kids the childhood they deserve? What if I can take them to Disney World and watch them ride the Dumbo ride without having to worry about going into credit card debt? What if I succeed, right? That's your new mentality going forward. There's a reason why the majority of people won't even consider doing what we do. And the reason is because they're afraid. You're not most people, though. You're not most people. You're special. You are enough right now to achieve success in this business. You're Beachbody coaches that are going to impact the world. Take pride in that. Accept the fact that you guys are weird. You guys are weird. Every Beachbody coach is weird. We're different than what most people do, right? There's so much social identity behind what we do, right? I'm a school teacher. I'm a stay-at-home mom. I'm a fireman. I'm an engineer. And we say those things with pride because it's what most people do. And those are amazing things. Amazing things that are truly valued in this society. And I respect those people a lot. But when it comes time to stand up and say, I'm a Beachbody coach, I try to impact the world, people cower and they hide. But guys, please accept the fact that helping people is really cool. And that inner strength to say those things and lead with your vulnerabilities is stronger than 98% of people out there. That's why you're here right now instead of watching Netflix. You want this, right? You join an industry that's going to be the cause of a lot of envy. I really want you guys to embrace that because whatever your adversity is, whatever you struggle with, that's your advantage. That's what you lead with. Use that to drive you and trust that inner strength is going to be stronger than any excuse you could make. So we know the purpose of talking about failures and how they're actually a good thing. And we've talked about having a purpose and how that's going to cause you to not lose motivation because when it's deep enough, you take action no matter what. Now I want to help you guys integrate some skill sets that I failed with to implement when I started as a coach. And so how many of you guys have ever signed a coach and gotten really excited because they're all on board and then they do absolutely nothing? Anyone? They do absolutely nothing. Or you're wondering, why the heck isn't this person doing anything? I'm giving them everything I got. Anyone? Or maybe you feel like you're pushing a rope or you feel like, if I could just find a better training video, then these guys would get it and they would succeed. And if I could just help them understand this point a little bit better, they would be a rock star. Anyone? I used to do that all the time, and I want to be the first to tell you that doing that is wasting your time. It's wasting your time. And I know this from experience. I've been in this business for 26, 27 months. And the first 20, I was doing that. And I was not duplicating. I did not duplicate my business. I was relying on retail sales and my volume didn't grow. My volume from the beginning of 2014 to the beginning of 2015 went down. That's what happened in my business when I wasn't focusing on this, or when I was focusing on just trying to make my coaches successful. And I want you guys to know something. It's not your job to babysit your team. It's your job, and this is what the main topic here tonight is constant recruitment. It's your job to find prospective talent, plug them into a duplicatable system, which you already have in your Coach Basics and your onboarding and your getting started and your Emerald to Diamond, and then be a mentor and support them and show your experience and offer kind of shortcuts to help them not experience the same things you did when you were kind of stumbling and figuring out on the way. There might be some coaches on this call thinking that it's Katie's job to do these things, right? To make them successful. It's not. It's yours. It's 100% yours. And I used to go in spurts when I was recruiting coaches. I would recruit like crazy for a month or two, and I would bring in a bunch of people, and I would work really, really hard on getting them going. And I would spend a couple of months trying to mobilize them and create better systems and make better videos. And I was convincing them to do this. And there's nothing wrong with making those videos, but I was convincing them and dragging them along. And I want to use that keyword convince. And if you're finding that you're convincing your coaches to do something, something's going wrong. Chances are that your time is being spent incorrectly. You should never have to convince someone to do this business. You're wasting your time. I used to chase people down and be like, just please get in this Coach Basics program. If you go through this program and go through the 21 days like our team does, and you watch all the videos, you'll be really successful. And I know it'll help you. I know you'll be able to see success. I wanted them to succeed so bad because I knew what this business could do. And I would spend so much time trying to get these people on board and say, okay. And then my Coach Basics groups would be like crickets. And when I was a new coach, my coach, Jessie Vandenberg, she's my sponsor, told me this. And I was so confused because I had 2 to 3 coaches on my team at the time when she told me this. This is 2.5 years ago. And I wish I would have listened to her. I wish I could go back and reverse that. And I would have done what she said when I first started. And it was slim pickings, right? But there was one coach on my left and maybe 2 on my right, and I wanted them to succeed so bad because I knew what this business could do. But I made that mistake for almost 2 years, and it's exactly why my team is a fraction of the size that I wish it could be. I screwed up, but I stayed consistent in the game because my purpose was deep enough. And finally, when I realized this and I implemented what I'm going to kind of go through in a minute, my business started duplicating, and that was 7 months ago. 7 months ago is when my business really started growing. So the point is, it's not your job to get your team to do something. It's not your job to make them do something. It's your job to recruit like crazy and give people the opportunity to do something, the opportunity to change their family's life. So here are some tips that I have on improving that. And the first is, when you start your new coach out, the how-tos don't matter as much as their reason why. Like we talked about, when you find the purpose, you find the fire. When you find the fire, that's what gets lit in someone's heart and keeps them going no matter whatever struggles they face along the way. The why is what keeps them here. Then they're okay with the failure, right? But when they don't focus on purpose and they just focus on how-tos and don't get emotional, you might have some trouble getting coaches started. So I focus on the how-to, or focus on the why of a new coach a lot. The how-tos still matter, but I still focus on the emotional side of why they joined. Number 2 is, don't enable your team. It's very easy just to give your team all the answers and spoon feed them. Trust me, I did it. I did it for 2 years almost. And you want them to become successful, but when it comes time for them to start leading their team, right? They needed me to lead their team, and they weren't empowered to lead themselves. What I do now is I'll point them to an FAQ or a webinar, or chances are Scotty Hobbs or Caleb Thomas has a video on it, right? Point them to your team page. Think about how much faster they'll get an answer. Plus, think about it. Would you rather have this camaraderie between your coaches working together, or you working with every single coach one-on-one every single day, all the time, and taking your focus off of recruiting, right? Then after they go to those resources, I encourage them to come to me and I let them know I am here to help, but I encourage them to become independent from the beginning. The third is, at the end of the day, this is a numbers game. It is about relationships, but it's also a numbers game. And guess what? 10% or less of the people that you sign up to do this business will do something like Katie's done. 10% or less will build this into something amazing. So would you rather recruit 10 people and settle trying to motivate and make all of them do something? Or would you understand that just 1 out of them is actually going to get off their butt and go? And guess what? When you find that 1 out of 10, you're not going to feel that pressure of having to convince them. They're going to do it. They're just going to go. Your leader is an example of that. I can guarantee you that Melanie did not have to drag Katie along to 10 Star Diamond. I can guarantee you she did not have to pull her along to make it happen. I'm sure she encouraged her, but she didn't drag her along, right? Katie was that 1 out of 10. Okay, so 1 out of 10 people are going to do this. Number 4 is systems. And it kind of goes back to stop trying to make people successful and giving people the opportunity to succeed by plugging them into a system. And the best part is, you have one of the most efficient leader-producing systems in all of Beachbody. Give them an opportunity to participate in that system, because it doesn't matter in this business what works, it matters what duplicates. People are not duplicatable, but systems are. You can take a system and pass it down, but you can't pass down the same person, okay? Number 5, lead by example. And this is kind of where I'm going to turn up the heat in this call a little bit. We got 20 minutes left. Katie, is it cool if I go 25? I might go 25. Is that bad? Will you kill me? Anyways, I'll try to go through it quick. But I'm going to kind of turn up the heat a little bit. And so if you're not, this go back to leading by example. If you're not in Success Club, this business isn't going to grow into something amazing. If you want your team to recruit and bring in coaches, you have to be bringing in coaches. If you want your team to hit Success Club, you'd better be hitting Success Club, right? And if you're not in Success Club, it's not a matter of your monthly circumstance. It's not because of what's going on. Sure, those things play an impact, but they're an obstacle. It's because you didn't do the work it takes to hit Success Club. When I was at Leadership last year, I asked Chris Reed, he's a top Beachbody coach, a question about building this business, about where I was struggling, right? And this is before I implemented what I'm teaching you today. He goes, Brad, it's very, very simple. The key to this business growing besides personal development is go find more people. More people gets you into Success Club. More people means more impact. More people means more chance of changing someone's life, right? Think about Success Club like the CEO of a multinational corporation, right? Like let's say like a Walmart or something like that. And let's say Walmart's mission was to help people lead happier, healthier, more fulfilling lives. That's their true mission as Walmart. Let's just say it was, hypothetical situation. And you're the CEO, just like you're the CEO of your Beachbody business, and you walk into a board meeting on Monday morning. And in that board meeting, your numbers are either stagnant or they're going down. Even though your mission is to help people live happier, healthier, more fulfilling lives, will you have a company that's able to do that if you aren't growing? No, you're not able to do that. You need to treat this like the CEO of a business. Success Club is the bare minimum of what you need to be doing to build this. You can't expect your coaches to do anything you're not doing. So if you aren't following your workouts or drinking your shake, think about this. Your coaches won't, and it's a business decision not to. This isn't just for your body. It is for your body and your health, right? It's for those things, but it's also a conscious business decision to not do those things. Because think about it. What is someone attracted to? When you go through struggle, you overcome that struggle. And this is what I overcame by using these products. But if you're not using the products, you're drinking Shakeology, you're doing the nutrition, you're making a conscious business decision to not grow your business. And same thing with your personal development. Your coaches are going to make excuses if you're making excuses. If you want what successful people have, do what successful people recommend. You will never find one successful coach in this business that doesn't give credit to personal development as a reason to why they are where they are. You will never find that. So lead by example is number 5. Number 6 is remove the emotional attachment from the outcome of a brand new coach. Now let me finish this point before you kind of judge it real quick. But people are going to come in, and they're going to start super strong, and some just aren't going to stay. Some are going to sign up a couple people, and they're going to dwindle off. Some are going to have to take out the trash when there's the team call, and they're not going to show up. Some people are going to hit diamond. They might slow down, but if someone wants this to work, they'll make it happen. And if they don't, they'll find blame or an excuse or someone to put this on. Remove the emotional attachment from the outcome. Still genuinely love and care and support this new person. But when you remove the emotional attachment to what they do right away, you can keep your focus on recruiting, and you don't think of as badly of, I used to think badly of myself when someone wasn't successful right away. I used to think that was my fault, but it's not. It's just how it works. And you can say, isn't that interesting? And it goes into kind of working with the willing, or the Pareto principle, right? 20% of the people on your team do 80% of the work. I can guarantee you that those business starters and team builders and team leaders that Katie was talking about earlier, those are the 20% of your downline that are really growing this, right? Those are your 20%. And I can guarantee you, Katie's got a spreadsheet somewhere of the people that are bringing in 80% of the volume on this team, and that is who is getting her one-on-one time. So you need to work with the willing. And how do you find those top 20% that are bringing in 80% of the volume? You got to go through all these situations, right? Jim Rohn talks about this in the audio, Building Your Network Marketing Business. It's a fantastic audio. I listen to it every time I'm in the car. If you haven't listened to that, highly recommended. But it's the law of reaping and sowing. And it's the metaphor is you're a farmer, right? And you have this amazing seed, which is our world-class businesses and world-class products, right? And you're this farmer and you're ambitious. And you're going out there and you're sowing the seed, right? You're planting these seeds and you have your big bucket of seeds and you're going out there and sometimes the seed kind of falls out to the side of your bucket, right? And the birds come down and get it and they fly away. And the metaphor is those are your people that you're talking to about coaching, and someone says, oh, you're not doing network marketing, are you? Oh, you're not doing one of those pyramid schemes, and you never hear from them again. And what we can either do is chase the birds, or we can keep sowing the seed. Because think about it, what happens when you chase the birds? You leave the field where you can plant seeds. And then you're going to keep sowing the seed, right? You decide not to chase the birds. You're going to keep sowing the seed. And it's going to land on thorny ground. And those thorns on those plants are going to strangle that crop to death. And those are your people that last a week and realize this is hard. And then you can either chase them down and convince them to stay, or you can keep sowing the seed. And you can just say, isn't that interesting? It must be one of those people. And then you're going to sow the seed and it's going to land on rocky ground, right? And the sun's going to fry it to death where the soil's shallow, right? And we can either ask why that is, or we can sow the seed even more. And those are your people that had to watch Walking Dead tonight or whenever Walking Dead was, and they were on the team call. And finally, you're going to sow the seed and it's going to land on good soil, and where the soil's fertile. And some of those seeds are going to do 30% of their potential. Some are going to do 60, some are going to do 100. And you can either try to convince the 30s to do 100, or you can just keep sowing the seed until you find more 100s, until you find that 20%. And how do you find that 20%? You got to go through all of those experiences. You have to go through every single bit of it to find that 1 out of 10. So we know 1 out of 10 are actually going to do this, right? We know you're not going to have to convince those 1 out of 10. So wouldn't it make sense to spend the majority of your time as a coach recruiting? Wouldn't it make the most sense if you have a duplicatable system? Building your own business first. Spend the majority of your time recruiting, follow-ups, invites, creating content, empowering your challengers to become coaches. Tommy Migrant taught me something really important a couple months back. And he said, Brad, question for you. Would you rather run with 3 or carry 100 on your back? Would you rather run with 3 or carry 100 on your back? That's a huge point. Think about it. If you spend 80% of your time recruiting new blood into your business, you will duplicate yourself and your coaches will see you do it and you'll lead by example. Think about it like a business career fair, right? At a college, at a university. Why do companies go back every year to recruit at these colleges? Why are they recruiting the talent? It's because people leave, people quit, people find something else. They move on to something. So if you want this to grow, put this in front of more people. Right? So that's kind of the main point of constant recruitment. But before I kind of close up, Katie, I want to go into something that and really help find the people here that want to change more than they want to stay the same. And I really want to help you guys bust some excuses out of the water right now. Just get rid of these excuses. And when I decided I wanted to change more than I wanted to stay the same, that was probably 7 months ago. 8 months ago, whatever it was, when my business started duplicating. And so first I want to preface this with the fact that everyone grows at different rates. Don't spend your time worrying or comparing yourself to what others are doing. Just do the absolute best that you can. I want to give myself as an example. Bonnie Engel, Brittany Leggett, friends of mine. Brittany started a month before me and Bonnie started about 5 months after me, and their businesses are much bigger than mine. Does that mean that I'm stopping because they passed me up? No, it does not mean I'm stopping. You can't compare yourself to what other people are doing. Comparison is the thief of joy and takes away the fun out of what we do. And if you're looking at someone's highlight reel and you're comparing it to your behind the scenes, it's not fair to yourself. Some people sign up and they'll hit diamond in 2 weeks, right? Some people will sign up and they'll hit diamond in a couple of months. And some people, it takes them a couple of years before they hit diamond, right? That does not mean they can't coach. Never compare yourself to others. Be happy for them and use their story as inspiration every single day. Look at Leslie Cordes, right? She took 6 months to hit emerald, an additional year to hit diamond, and an additional 6 months after that to hit star diamond. And now she's a superstar diamond coach 5 years into this business, right? Think about that. A multiple six-figure earner that's changed thousands of lives. Rank does not equal leader, but influence equals leader. You all have the ability to impact and motivate another person to be better than they were yesterday. And that has nothing to do with the rank attached to your Team Beachbody online office. If it did, why would I be on this call? Why would I be speaking for Katie right now if rank meant something? If I only have 3 and she's got more than 10, right? More than 10 diamonds. If rank meant something, why would that matter? Does it mean I can't inspire and make an impact? No, and it doesn't mean it for you either. And I remember when I was a brand new coach and you feel like you're drinking out of a fire hose and there's so much information being thrown at you from all different angles and you're trying to balance a family life and fun or a full-time or overtime job, and it's scary to take the lead. But I can promise you that if you take the lead starting right now, you will be so thankful that you did. So I want to go into a couple excuses real quick before we close that kind of hold a lot of coaches back. And so ask yourself these questions and give yourself an introspective look into your business. How many of you guys have ever been afraid of what people are thinking of you? You know, you're worried about what people are thinking of you, and that's the reason you haven't reached out to people. That's a big point here. The thing about that is that when we focus on what other people think of us, we take the focus completely off of helping them and put it completely onto ourselves. We're not doing our job as a Beachbody coach when we do that. It's our ego talking. You're fueling your ego if you're worried about that. And the thing about it, and this is really hard to hear, is that people aren't thinking about us. They're not. When you share your story and your vulnerability, they're thinking about how your story relates to them. If Katie's your upline, you probably saw her share something about her story. You connected with, what would that mean for my life? Not just thinking about her life. So they're thinking about themselves. So they're not thinking about us. Same thing with being afraid of failing. Josh Spencer, one of my mentors, said that at the men's leadership retreat this past year. He goes, your success in this business depends on your willingness to accept, welcome, and learn from constant failure. We talked about that in the beginning, so I don't want to go into that in a lot of detail right now, but it's so true. What about, have you guys ever felt that you don't think you know enough people to be successful at this? Or you feel like I'm going to run out of Facebook friends? So this is where I just want to get really real with you guys. You don't know who needs us. You don't know if that woman on the park bench has high cholesterol. You don't know if that person that's on the subway has high blood pressure or is struggling financially to pay for their kids' school, right? Think about for a second how these products have impacted your life. What have they done for you in your life? And ask yourself the question, do you think there are other people out there right now struggling with exactly what you did before you started this product or this business? Now imagine for 1 second, just really take an introspective look and imagine for 1 second that this was completely taken away. No more Shakeology, no more business opportunity, no more 21-day fix. Uncle Carl calls you up and says, sorry, no more coaching. It's gone, taken away. You're done. How would you feel? Think about that. What would it do for your life if that wasn't here? How would it impact you? And when you think about that, it means we don't have the right not to share this with people because it's changed our life so much. And you're enough to do that right now. So all of a sudden, that prospect list of 200 Facebook friends just turned into 200 million people that are struggling with their health in this country, not to mention going overseas, or not even including the 98% of this country that's struggling financially. So that means we don't have the right to share this because it's helped us so much. Every single person in this world is a prospect if you have the courage to share your story, okay? And the last one is knowing or wondering if I have enough time to do this, or how the heck we're going to balance this with a full-time or overtime job. Is anyone worried about that? I used to be worried about that a lot. And I used to rationalize great excuses on why I couldn't do this. And I was absolutely terrified because I didn't know. I was working 80 hours a week at my full-time job. And I want to call out right now that it's an illegitimate excuse. If you want something you've never had, you got to do something you've never done. You have to do something that is different from before. I remember my first 9 months of coaching, and it probably should have been longer. I was working 80 hours a week in a full-time job, 6 days a week, 14 to 16 hours a day with a long-distance girlfriend and absolutely no money to my name. I was working 80-hour weeks. You can't tell me for 1 second that you don't have time. You do have time. You have limited time, but successful coaches make time. They see the long-term possibility, and they make the short-term sacrifices to make that happen. A common excuse I hear from people on my team is, I'm going to wait until this project at work, finishes in a couple of months, or I feel like I'll have more time when Johnny's done with soccer practice. Guys, there's never going to be a right time to change the course of your life. Something else will always come up, and I can guarantee you that. There will never be a right time, but that time that is spent waiting and trying to find that right time is going to pass anyways. So you have a choice. You can keep using it as a great reason why you can't be successful and change your life, or you can do what successful people do and see it as an obstacle that you'll make it through regardless of the sacrifice. And I use that word sacrifice with intention. You're adding something onto your life right now. It won't just happen. Katie talked about earlier, there are no discounts or coupons for success in this. So what if I told you right now that if you choose to implement what we talked about, 1 year from now, you're going to look back and your life is completely and totally different? Would you be willing to have faith in the unknown with purpose at your back and just a belief that it's going to happen? Would you have the belief to keep pushing? There's no difference in the abilities of Lindsay Matway, Katie Ersta, myself, Melanie Mitro, Val Bazo, any of these people. There is literally no difference in the abilities. If there was a difference, it would be in the behavior and the choices that these coaches make. We decide to act and make something happen. You're coming up to a Super Saturday, right? You're going to have that momentum. You're feeling pumped up after this call, but it really doesn't matter. I don't care if you're a coach that signed up 5 years ago or 5 minutes ago. I don't care if you're a coach that's a brand new or an emerald coach or you're an elite coach. You all have the ability to impact and change someone's life to improve from how it was yesterday. You just need to care about people and have a deep enough purpose to do it and commit to it and fall on your butt a couple of times and get back up and then fall on your butt again and then get back up, because failure is the only way you're going to succeed. And if you're that type of person that's listening to everything coming into your ears and not willing to go out there and try it and do it, you're cheating yourself, you're hurting your own business, and you're giving up on yourself. You're not going to be able to build this business nearly as efficiently with that mindset, because when opportunity is knocking, it is way too late to prepare. It is way too late. It's never going to be convenient, but there's no difference in the abilities of any of us. You just need to do what your leader recommends and give no excuses and make something happen and go full throttle at this. And when you're making that decision, half of the people on this call are going to go all out and they're going to dive right in, right? And half of the people on this call are probably going to put on the brakes. And you're going to make that decision on whether you really want to speed up or slow down. And I want to ask you that same question. What would it feel like if in 1 year from now, your life was completely and totally different? Success in this business is not a matter of your life circumstance. It's not a matter of the amount of kids you have or what's going on in your life or how much debt you're in. We all have crap. We all have crap in our lives. It's not your crap that matters. It's what you do with your crap to influence the world that matters. It's your decision. Success in this business is a choice. It is literally a choice. If you haven't hit any Success Club points in October yet, that's okay. Decide that you will. Decide right now that you're going to use this momentum and this feeling you have leaving this call to move forward. Decide to invite. Decide to make personal development a key priority. Decide to do your workouts and drink your Shakeology as a business decision. Decide to be successful and attack it with faith and believe it's possible before it happens, and attack it with enthusiasm and get excited about how your life's going to change, and do what it takes, the action. Don't just listen, but apply it and give it all you have for 1 year. Don't quit before the miracle happens. Opportunity is knocking at your door right now, and it's not going to be convenient. It's not going to be wrapped in something shiny, and it is way too late to prepare. So promise yourself right now that instead of shrinking your dreams to the size of your income, you're going to go out there every single day and build your income to the size of your dreams. And I know you guys can. Completely believe in you. And I get really pumped up and ramble on these calls, but Katie, I'll turn it back over to you. That's all I got tonight.
I am so glad that you busted out the A game, because it was good stuff. And everything you were saying is just so many of the points you made just reignited the things that were talked about at leadership. And one of the things that you were talking about was this idea of fear, right? And John Annison, who was the CEO of Primerica, which is another MLM company, he's since retired, but he had this great accent, and he was given these one-liners the whole time, like just about success and motivation. And the one thing that stood out to me is how people give up in this business, right? Because it's totally voluntary. It's hard to build a team of people. Like when I was teaching, when you got that job, you were kind of stuck with that job. You had your retirement, you had your pension. Like nobody leaves that kind of job, right? So it's not voluntary. But with this business, the people you onboard, when it gets hard, it's just as easy for them to say, I'm out. And, I'm in, I'm out. And then I just remember him saying that and being like, that is so true. It is so true that it's 100% voluntary. And instead of sitting here and thinking like, this is my fault that they don't want it, it isn't. I mean, it really isn't. I mean, guys, the bottom line is, You know, everything you do in this business, whether you hit Success Club or you don't hit Success Club, or you have a month that was hard, or, you know, like whatever excuses or things or failures, you have to remind yourself it's just a minor situation. It's a hiccup. It's a bump in the road. This is not a crisis. I can talk to you guys about a crisis. This is not a crisis. So what you need to do is kind of just like Brad said, you need to figure out what your purpose is and what makes you feel good. And if you feel lost, and sometimes we get lost, and Brad, I'm going to be honest with you, I left leadership and I was lost. I was like, I don't even know. My business is falling apart and I don't know who I am or where my leaders are, what's going on. But it's not a crisis. It's not a crisis. And you can find your way. And you can figure it out. And you just have to realign it back to what made you fall in love with it. And if you feel like you're not in love with it, find what makes you freaking happy about it. And I'm going to tell you, I love to sweat for other people because that's what people did for me. And if I lose that, you all have a right to put me in check and remind me that this is not about the money for me. Like, this is not why I do this. I do this because people sweat for me and it was kind of them to do it. So it's my job to make sure I sweat for other people. It is still okay to align it back to the business and align it back to your purpose. And if you get lost, you need to say, Katie, I'm lost. Help me find my purpose. And I'm going to do it. And I'm going to ask you to do the same for me. That's all. Brad, you nailed it. Do you guys have questions for Brad?
And about
Brad, so I'm just curious, like, what is your why?
Oh man.
Can you sum it up? What drives you? Like, what is the reason you didn't quit? Because quitting would have been really easy for you. Like, it would have been easy for you to be like, I failed at this, I failed at this, I failed at this. So what was it that made you say, no, I'm not quitting?
It's all these sheets of paper written out. I read it every day. Originally I thought it was to leave my full-time job. I hated what I was doing so much. And you think about with our whys, right? We say what these goals are. You know, my goal or my why is to retire my spouse, or my why is to make a huge impact. But those a lot of times are just goals. And what I kind of found as I really dug deep into this, it goes down to, I never want to give my kids, my future kids, the childhood that I had. I want to give them something that they can be proud of. I want them to be able to come home and be happy bringing their friends over to the house and not embarrassed of the situation they were in. I never want my kids to feel emotionally abused. I want them to feel valued. I went through a lot of emotional abuse as a child, and money was always a huge problem growing up. There was a lot of, it ultimately led to my parents' divorce. And I look at all these things in my childhood and in these things that kind of crafted my mind to be exactly like, this is the way things have to be. You know, we never really went on a vacation, or we never really, there's always a strain. And my deep purpose is to, when I do decide to start a family, to give my kids the childhood that they never had. And it also goes back to retiring my dad too, but that's like kind of a side thing. But that's kind of the biggest driver for me. But there's a lot of other little things. I mean, it's 10 pages long, but that's kind of the summary. And
sometimes it's hard to admit, right? And it's easy to lose it sometimes. And it's easy to lose it when you lose sight of, like, my volume's doing this, or it's going up, or it's going down. But if you can just keep focused on your bigger purpose, like your personal purpose and connection with your purpose in Beachbody, your business grows. Like and it's some faith. I mean, you have to have this faith that it's going to work. And when it comes, you know, when you understand your purpose, you don't fear those things you talked about. You don't fear the excuses that you bring. You don't fear talking to people. You don't fear what people are saying about you. That is gone when you understand what's driving you forward. And it's like this idea that you can't, you don't stop. Like you don't. I mean, so what? I'm a 10. Like, who cares? In the grand scheme of things, like, who cares what rank you are? What I want is, like, I want people to send me those messages that say you're making an impact. That matters to me. And so you just remember that whenever you feel lost sometimes. So Very cool. Very cool. Anything else you wanted to give us, Brad?
Just don't quit. Please don't quit. Don't quit before the miracle happens. Be here a year from now. If you really dig in, this is the one book that helped me find what my purpose was. And you're going to find yourself going to places in your life that you didn't really realize you were going to be going really quickly when you do the exercises in there. And when you find that purpose, a lot of times people struggle with, like the feeling of going 3 weeks strong and then kind of having to play catch up for that week. And then going 3 weeks strong again and then kind of backing off. When you really find that purpose and you take the time to go and dig into you and what drives you, everyone's why is different, and that's okay. But when you find it, you will never want to stop. You're going to be excited about getting up for work the next day. So just don't quit before the miracle happens, and have your purpose at your back with belief driving you in the unknown. So
cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much for being on the call. If you guys have questions for Brad, I know you're probably open to people messaging you.
Yeah.
I'm assuming. So thank you. We appreciate your time. And guys, I will catch you tomorrow in the team page. Have a good night.
Thank you, Katie. Have a good one.
Bye. Thanks, Brad. Bye-bye.